Learn English through story. The Dark Flame of Desire. In the land of Astoria, a kingdom surrounded by vast mountain ranges and ancient forests, there lived a young scholar named Amon. His life had been defined by his insatiable hunger for knowledge. Amon was a man of humble beginnings, but his brilliance and dedication had earned him a place in the prestigious royal library. From morning till night, he pored over dusty manuscripts and ancient scrolls, absorbing the wisdom of the ages. Yet, despite his intellectual accomplishments, there was one thing that eluded him: power. Amon's desire for power had grown quietly over the years, a small flicker that had now transformed into a roaring fire deep within him. He had seen the power wielded by the noblemen who frequented the palace, by the wizards who commanded the elements, and by the king who ruled over the land with unquestionable authority. Amon, with his sharp mind and tireless work ethic, believed he was more deserving of power than any of them. He resented the fact that, despite his intelligence, he was seen merely as a scholar, a keeper of books. One evening, as Amon was researching ancient legends in the depths of the royal library, he stumbled upon an obscure text. The book was old, its pages brittle and faded, and it seemed to have been untouched for centuries. Its title read "The Flame of Velmaris." Intrigued, Amon opened the book and began to read. The legend told of a powerful flame that had been sealed away in the dark mountains of Velmaris. It was said that this flame was no ordinary fire. It was imbued with a dark magic, capable of granting unimaginable power to anyone who could harness it. But the text also carried a warning: those who sought the flame out of selfish desire would be consumed by its darkness. Amon's heart raced as he read further. The flame, according to the legend, was hidden in an ancient temple, guarded by forgotten spells and deadly traps. Many had sought it over the centuries, but none had returned. Still, the promise of power was too great for Amon to resist. He had spent his life in pursuit of knowledge, yet this would be his chance to finally claim what he believed he deserved. For days, Amon could think of nothing else. He could hardly sleep or eat, his mind consumed by visions of the flame. He saw himself rising to power, surpassing the nobles, the wizards, and even the king. He would be feared and respected, his name whispered in awe across the kingdom. The thought of it sent a thrill through him, a feeling of excitement and dread all at once. The flame was calling to him, and he knew he would have no peace until he sought it out. Finally, unable to resist any longer, Amon made his preparations. He gathered supplies for the long journey to Velmaris, careful not to tell anyone of his plans. He knew that if anyone discovered what he was after, they would try to stop him, or worse, they would attempt to claim the flame for themselves. The journey to Velmaris was treacherous. The dark mountains were known to be home to wild beasts and treacherous terrain. For weeks, Amon traveled alone, battling through harsh storms and rocky cliffs. But his desire for the flame kept him going, pushing him to endure the pain and exhaustion. At last, after a grueling ascent through the mountains, Amon reached the temple. It was hidden deep within a cave, its entrance nearly obscured by overgrown vines and crumbling stone. As he stepped inside, a cold chill ran down his spine. The air inside the temple was thick with an oppressive energy, as though the very walls were alive with dark magic. He could feel the flame's presence, pulsing deep within the temple like a heartbeat. The temple was filled with traps, collapsing floors, poison darts, and puzzles designed to confuse and deceive. But Amon was clever, and with each obstacle, he used his knowledge to outwit the ancient mechanisms. His heart pounded in his chest as he grew closer to the flame. His hands trembled with anticipation. The power he had long craved was now within his grasp. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Amun entered the innermost chamber of the temple. In the center of the room, floating above an ancient altar, was the flame of Vilmaris. It was no ordinary fire. The flame was black, its edges tinged with a deep crimson. It flickered and danced in the air, casting eerie shadows across the chamber. Amun could feel its power, raw and untamed, beckoning him. Without hesitation, Amun reached out and touched the flame. As his hand made contact with the dark fire, a searing pain shot through his body, and he let out a scream of agony. But along with the pain came an overwhelming surge of power. He could feel the flame coursing through his veins, filling him with a strength unlike anything he had ever known. As the pain subsided, Amun stood tall, his body trembling with the raw energy of the flame. He felt invincible. The world seemed to bend to his will, the very air around him crackling with his newfound power. He had done it. He had claimed the flame of Vilmaris. Nothing could stop him now. But as Amun stood in the chamber, reveling in his victory, a dark voice echoed in his mind. "You have taken what does not belong to you," the voice whispered. "The flame will not be controlled. It will consume you, as it has consumed all before you." Amun shook his head, trying to push the voice away. "I am different," he muttered. "I am stronger. I will control the flame." But the voice only laughed, a cold, hollow sound that sent chills down Amun's spine. "The flame is not a gift, but a curse. Your desire for power has blinded you. Now, you will pay the price." Amun staggered backward, fear creeping into his heart. He tried to will the flame to obey him, to bend to his control, but it resisted. The power that had once filled him with strength now turned against him. He could feel it consuming him from within, like a fire that could not be quenched. Desperately, Amun tried to leave the temple, but the flames followed him. They licked at his skin, burning him from the inside out. His mind was filled with visions of destruction, cities reduced to ashes, lives ruined by the very power he had sought to control. As he stumbled through the temple, the voice in his mind grew louder. "You were warned," it said, "but your desire blinded you. Now, the flame will consume everything you once were." Amun's body began to break down under the weight of the flame's power. His skin blackened and cracked, and his mind descended into madness. The knowledge and power he had once prized so highly became his torment, as the flame ravaged his soul. By the time Amun reached the entrance of the temple, he was no longer the man he had been. His body was twisted and broken. His mind lost to the dark magic of the flame. The power he had craved had turned him into a monstrous being of pure destruction. As he stood at the temple's entrance, staring out at the world he had once wanted to rule, Amun realized the truth. The flame had never been a source of power. It had always been a trap, designed to lure in those whose desires were too great, and to consume them utterly. With his last moments of clarity, Amun whispered a bitter prayer to the gods, begging for forgiveness. But no forgiveness came. The flame had claimed him, as it had claimed all those before him. In the end, Amun was left as nothing more than a charred husk, his body consumed by the dark flame of his own desire. The legend of the flame of Vilmaris continued to spread, and over time, many more came seeking its power. But all who sought it met the same fate as Amun. For the flame was not meant to be controlled. It was a manifestation of desire, of the dark urges that lie within every heart. The story of Amun became a cautionary tale told throughout Astoria, a reminder that unchecked desire can lead even the most brilliant minds to ruin. The flame, they said, was a reflection of the darkness within, and those who sought it would find only destruction. Desire, when left unchecked, can become a dangerous force that consumes even the strongest of minds. The pursuit of power for its own sake can lead to ruin, as true strength comes not from domination, but from wisdom and restraint. Those who chase after their darkest desires will find that the very things they seek may be their undoing. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.